psychologist, psychotherapist, speaking to you from Lausanne in Switzerland. So tonight I have a treat for you, which is the second half of my case study, which I'm very quite pleased and proud of because of the animation that I've managed to put together for this. I think it's quite nicely done. And people have asked, why is it so important that I show this case study? And what I've said is that this case study is very important because it's basically a true story. Now, it's very difficult having a true story with obviously a medical secret. Hi, good evening. And it's important that we take true stories. And of course, I change them because a medical secret is you don't tell other people what other people's business is and their stories. But this story struck me so much that it is also one of my greatest successes, as you might say. It's my overnight success. It's one of the first times that I've actually done a therapy and the symptom has literally disappeared from one week to the next. It's really quite a magical type of success story. It's only happened once, so it's my magical success story. But just the same, it's really important to understand how people can misinterpret their childhood. And it's something that I often speak to my patients about. I say, you have your own interpretation of your life. You've lived it, you understand it in your way, what it is you've experienced and what it means. But that's not necessarily the truth. The truth is, the difference is that we have, I explained, like a skeleton. You have your skeleton. The skeleton of the basic facts. They're the facts of your life. Those are no, I don't question them. My patients bring me their stories. They bring the stories. And from that, I build a structure. And then they tell me what they think it means, which is like having skin and hair and eyes and makeup on. And I listen to them and I look at the shape of their lives and I look at the shape of the skeleton. And very often it just doesn't match. And they can't see it doesn't match because that's what they've lived, that's what they've experienced, that's what they believe to be true. So my logic, trying to make sure the chat is on. So if anybody wants to say anything and send me a message or anything like that, I can see what you're writing. So, and then I say, okay, let's take just the skeleton. Let's take the facts and let's build a reality based on those facts. And it's often strangely different from the reality of what as they've experienced it. And I believe that both Meghan and Harry have experienced their childhoods. And there's two things there. There is their experience of their mothers and their fathers, which I believe to be true. It's their experience of it, but I believe it was their interpretation is not right. And there's another side which I haven't spoken of, and I will speak of in the book. It's that some children have very, very unhappy childhoods, and nobody understands why. Because seen from the outside, why are they suffering? What's the problem? And the problem is that the adults seeing someone's life cannot understand how that child's life can be very, very unhappy when the adult is having a normal, it seems like a normal life. And I had a patient once came to me and she said that she's having problems with her daughter. And the daughter has been very difficult and always complaining and they're never satisfied. And I said, well, what's the problem? She says, well, my daughter says she's had an unhappy childhood. And there's no way. I've been there. I've been looking after her. Her father's been there looking after her. There's no way. And then I said, okay, explain to me the story. Explain to me how she has experienced her life. And the woman husband was in the armed forces, and he got changed from post to post. And I said, well, when did you first move? I said, well, she was like 3 years old. I said, well, 3 years old is very young for a child to start to understand what life is about, and then to be moved. And then she told me that not only did they move, but she had another child. So I was trying to explain, but your daughter lost her mother, she lost her parents, she lost all the background, everything she knew, and she was just uprooted. And from what my patient told me, they were uprooted 3 or 4 times. And I said, well, that's very disruptive for a child. She said, well, yeah, all the armed services do it. It's normal. I said, well, what's normal for the armed services and therefore considered normal for you does not necessarily mean it's normal for a child. So that's another subject that we're going to talk about. But tonight, I want to show you the second part. This part's 3 bits. And it's the second part of this story. And I'd like to know what you think about it, because I'm actually quite pleased with it. And we'll just see how it goes. So, what do we have here? That's not it. Where are you? Often I find things very complicated. So, where is everything? No, it's not there. It's supposed to be here somewhere. Oh, great. I'll go to this. There's something here. No. Not there. Well, we'll find it. It has disappeared. Why is it not here? Copy, paste, duplicate. We'll find it in a minute, but let's try that. Media. Okay, video. Here we go. Who is Meghan Markle?
Hi, this is Gary Edward Gedall, psychologist, psychotherapist, looking at who is Meghan Markle. Tonight, we're going to have a look at the second chapter. Well, we're going to continue the second chapter, which deals with Meghan's relationship with her parents. For those of you who have watched the last segment, you will be aware that I've chosen to begin this reflection by sharing with you a real case study of one of my patients. Of course, many personal and secondary details have been changed to protect her identity, but I promise you the basis and many of the important psychological and historical details are totally true. For those who missed last week or have forgotten, I put together a short recap.
I cannot sleep unless I am breathing in the smell, the odor of my teddy bear. Sometimes I turn over and I can't sleep. I wake up and I need to smell her again. I've tried sleeping pills, hypnosis, acupuncture, many things. Because I cannot sleep without him, I cannot have a relationship. Even with my boyfriend, with his smell, it isn't enough. When I was very young, I used to take the teddy bear to bed. I didn't spend much time with my mother. I spent more time with my father. My mother wasn't really very available. She worked mornings, weekends. She would pick me up, let me watch television, then go to bed because she was tired. After a while, my parents split up. I had to go and live with my father. My father was very strict, very tough on me about my homework. Every weekend he took me riding, but he would just stand and watch, smoking his pipe. When my mother came, we would buy toys, have ice creams, do things Dad didn't like. Once she took me to Disney World, And when we were there, I think, oh, the police came in Disney. Once she took me to Disney World.
Without your father?
Sure, she came, and it was a holiday day, and I was on holiday. And she said, "Come on, let's go to Disney."
In Florida?
Of course, let's go. And we just went. We went on an aeroplane, and when we were there, I think, oh, the police came in Disney.
What do you mean the police came in Disney?
Well, it seems that she hadn't told Dad that she was taking me, and he'd sent the police. And the police had found out that she'd taken a plane with me to Disney, and the police came. I don't know why. It was really horrible. My father, often. Dad was horrible.
Okay. And then what happened?
Well, the police said it was okay, because it was okay. But it's really scared me. And I thought it was horrible of him to do that for no reason.
But did your mother inform him or tell him you were going to Disney?
No. She just said it was a good idea, and she had the money, and it was her day with me, and she could do what she wanted. So we went to Disney, and it was great, except for the police.
And so your mother came from time to time?
It was so great. She was so fun. And then she would leave, and I would be stuck with Dad, who was really boring and no fun. And that's how it was. Well, after, when I was about to go to high school, Dad's mom died. And then we moved back to the village where we lived.
Oh, so you moved back to the main village where your mother lived?
Yeah.
And so you went to stay with your mother?
No, I never went to stay with Mom.
Never?
Never.
In holidays and things, you didn't go and stay with her when you were in the city?
No, it just didn't work that way.
So anyway, but when you went back to live in the same town, why didn't you go and live with her?
Well, you see, the high school was really close to where Grandma's house is, so that was why I stayed there.
So you never went and stayed with your mother after you left as a child?
No, why should I?
No reason. And you went to university?
Yeah, of course I did.
Because you had good grades?
Well, yeah, I worked hard.
Didn't you think that your father helped you get good grades?
I don't know. He made me work hard. I worked hard and I got good grades. So it was my work. That's what Mum said. Mum said that I deserved it because of the hard work I'd done.
And your father, there was no appreciation for what he did?
Why? He did it because it was good for him, and he saved money, and he was mean with me.
I said, okay. So I listened to this story, and I thought about this story. And then I said something that she didn't like. I said, I've listened to your story. I've listened to your interpretation of what happened. But my job is to listen to the facts and leave the interpretation to the side. Everybody has their own interpretations. My reading of your story is that your mother abandoned you and your father looked after you in an incredibly caring and appropriate way.
No way. No way. That wasn't how it was. That wasn't how it was at all.
Wasn't it? Your father took you because it was too mean to pay child maintenance. Have you any idea how much it cost to keep a child in the city? How much it cost to join a ranch? How much it cost every week to go riding? How much time he spent just watching you ride? It seems that other than work, he did nothing in his life other than look after you. No, he spent his time looking after you because he loves you. And your mother would come to see you from time to time. Yes, it didn't seem to be very often. And I believe that your teddy bear smells like your mother.
Well, I suppose it does. When I was a baby, I was in bed with her and the teddy bear. And Dad, but mostly with her and the teddy bear.
So your attachment
to this smell is your attachment to your mother.
So that's not wrong, is it?
Well, generally we develop, we evolve, we move forward, and things that are important to us in the past become less important, and we invest new things. And it seems to me that you cannot move forward because of this investment, this emotional investment in your mother, which has not evolved. And it's not evolved because it was blocked from you being a child.
I don't agree with that.
And she didn't. She didn't agree with that for months. And for months I kept hitting the same nail with the same hammer. She was abandoned by her mother, who didn't look after her when she was a child. She'd come in and go to work. She was never there in the mornings, although nobody works 7 days a week. She was never there in the evenings because she was too tired. She had no holidays that my patient could remember. That there's something drastically wrong there. But yes, there were times when she would come and visit, never take her home, would come and visit, and it would be wonderful. And I thought, well, there's something there. It's not for me to diagnose the mother at a distance, although I could. That's not my job. My job is to get my patient to talk to her mother, to confront her. And one week she said,
Listen, Mr. Gedall, if I confront my mother now, who I now have a good relationship with, it might not work. She might be angry with me. She might reject me. And I couldn't cope with that.
and I said, look, I've done everything I can. The only thing I can think of is you talk to your mother about this. Talk to your mother about what I have said and ask her what she thinks about that.
Maybe you could also talk to your father.
No way am I talking to that man ever again. No way. That's why I'm close to my mother now, because I don't talk to him.
But fine, talk to her. So eventually she took as they say, her courage in both hands, and she went to talk to her mother.
So, what happened? Well, sorry, that's about all time we have time for this week. Next Monday will be the conclusion of this story, of this case history, promise. So, what happened with her mother? Was she accepted or rejected? Did we ever find out why her mother acted as she did? Will she ever speak to her father again? Will Meghan ever speak to her father again? Will Harry ever speak to his father again? What about her symptom? And what happens with the bear? So, tune in next week for answers to all these questions. Sorry, not those of Harry and Meghan. See you next Monday. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, do all the good things, and I'll see you next week. See ya, Gary.
There we go. So, what do you think? Let me know what you think. It'd be nice to the people are actually writing things. Been watching for 2 hours. Why are you watching for 2 hours? Oh, it's interesting that there are messages, and for some reason the message is not showing on my side. Very weird. But I'll have a look again. Great stream. Oh, that's nice. I think this is amazing content. That's really nice. That's good stuff. So, what is important, and I think it's really important that people reflect on this, is as a therapist, I often have to confront my patients. I have to tell them things that they don't want to hear. Now, I know that some people think that a therapist is supposed to be supportive and caring and not to confront. But when I have a patient that has strong symptoms, when I have a patient that's suffering, it's not my job to be nice with them and allow them to continue to suffer. My job is not to get people to suffer. My job is to help them heal themselves. I can't heal my patients. It's not possible. I'm not like a surgeon. I'm not like a doctor that prescribes. I'm a therapist. And what a therapist can do is to support the person in healing themselves. And that is really what is important. It's important that the patient heals themselves. And to heal themselves, sometimes you have to tell them things that they don't want to hear. And in this case, it's a perfect example of me confronting my patient. My patient was totally, completely convinced that her father was negative, her father was bad, her father was mean, her father did only the minimum he could do to fulfill his obligations. Her argument of why he took her as a child was because he was too mean to pay child support. And that's the story that her mother fed her. That's what she believed. All his work, all his effort with her homework and with her studies. And when I asked her, do you not think that you should appreciate him for some of the study, some of the work that he had helped you with? She said, no, it's all my own work. Why was it all your own work? That's what Mum said. I said, did he have any other relationships? No, because he was too mean to spend any money. How does she know? Because that's what Mum said. And what's interesting is that she just absorbed and accepted everything her mother said. Why? Because she needed to invest in her mother. The mother was not there. She was there sometimes. She gave her a good time. She did all the fun things. But she wasn't there on a daily basis. Just like, and this is the bit that I'm going to bring across when I get to the not next week, but the week after, is the fact is that Meghan's mother, Doria, was not there during her childhood. Doria left the home, the family home, when Meghan was 2 years old. And whatever she might have done with her, however much she was supposed to look after her, from my understanding and my appreciation, based on my own experience as a therapist, is the fact is that she wasn't there. And Meghan, when she talks about her mother was an angel and supportive and helped her with this and helped her with that and helped her with the other. But I don't believe it, just like I did not believe my patient. I did not believe that her mother was there as much as she needed to be. And I certainly did not believe that the father was as negative, because constantly throughout the whole therapy, she would tell me how bad the father was, how disinvested he was, how mean he was, how uncaring he was. And what I found absolutely fascinating, because I found this out later, the video is not actually in the order that I found things out. I've taken the story and I have reorganized it in a way that makes sense chronologically, but it's not the same as I found out therapeutically, because what I found out, so she told me that her father was not very interested, not very supportive, and not very caring. And then a few months later, and it was quite a lot later, I sort of by chance, I said, well, what did you do with your father, like when you were there, when you were away with him? And she said, no, nothing much. I said, well, did you not do anything at the weekends? I said, oh, yeah, I used to go riding. Like, no big deal. I used to go riding. I was like, well, I know from my own experience, going riding is a very big investment. And so I asked them, that's the bits in the video are quite correct. He used to take her out of the town almost every single weekend, and he would pass his weekends doing nothing but watching her ride. And it's not very interesting watching someone else ride. And he gave her that. Every single weekend, he would give her that time, that energy, that financial investment, but also a huge investment of his time. And a lot of parents, especially when the children get a bit older, that they find things for the kids to do without them, so they have the weekends for themselves, because the mother, and we will find out next week exactly why, promise you that, the mother, she was only there from time to time. She was there very rarely. So the father, he was the only parent almost 24/7. And he just didn't do anything else except look after this young lady, which obviously invested an awful lot in, and all she's got to tell me is how mean he was, that he would stay there and smoke his pipe, as if smoking a pipe is some sort of crime. maybe he didn't like the smell of his pipe. She never said she didn't like the smell of it. She just said he just stood there smoking his pipe. It would take her when she was very young to the park, and he would sit and smoke his pipe. And then when she went to the town, and he took her riding, and he watched the riding, and he smoked his pipes. Like, that's the thing that he did that made him bad. So this sort of way of seeing life, that she saw her father as uninvested and not very positive, and her mother was this wonderful angel. And that is, from my point of view, exactly the same type of vision that Meghan Markle has of her parents. She won't see her father, just like this woman wouldn't see her father. Have a good relationship with her mother now. I don't want to go and see my father because that's the way it is. It's as if, I mean, she's made the choice. And Harry, poor bugger, yes, he lost his mother when he was 8. She died in that horrible car accident. I sort of remember it. I remember where I was at the time. It's like it was sort of a trauma for me. I was in a tennis club, actually. I wasn't playing, but I was in a tennis club. And I remember that happened. But, you know, he lost his mother. But he lost his mother in a way also much, much younger. She was already having relationships outside of marriage, which more than likely of him, because he didn't know anything about it. All he could feel was the tension between his parents, maybe some other conflicts, didn't really understand what was going on. And his mother, who was soft and young and innocent and beautiful, and everybody loved her. And so Charles was the bad one, obviously. But it wasn't him. I mean, yes, he had his girlfriend, but I don't think he did anything about his girlfriend at the time. So everybody saw Diane as someone very positive and very cheerful and very generous. She was involved with charities, and she was fun. She was great, but she had a lot of her own demons, her own problems. But that wasn't the bit that Harry met. That wasn't the bit that Harry experienced. He experienced from time to time, and I talk about this in the videos that I've done of him, is that one of the things that I remember was that Diane, she went to a sports day in his school, and she took her shoes off, and she ran a race with all the other mothers. And, she was just like also normal. And then she took him to Germany, and she took him to Canada. And yes, these experiences must have been wonderful. But he was in a boarding school. He wasn't home that much. And she was all over the place with all her boyfriends and whatever. So he couldn't have spent that much time with her. But I would presume that his memories of her, just like my memory of her, which is only from television and things like that, was of somebody wonderful and full of life and full of excitement. And Charles was the heavy one. So I'm sorry, I have a bit the same image. But Charles is still there. He still tried to support both his sons throughout the whole of the experience of his then wife, sleeping around with other people, then divorcing, and then having all sorts of unpleasant adventures. This is something that happens. It's something that people are linked to. And Meghan, her mother, started different businesses, and then her mother went to England for a number of years, went bankrupt. And when was she together with her mother? How much time did she spend with her mother? And how much time did she spend with her father? Just like my patient, this is what I find fascinating, is that Meghan must have spent most of the time of her childhood and youth with her father, who was there, who was present. And also, when she was about 9, he became very rich, which is not bad. I think, I don't know if you've watched some of the other episodes. He won the lottery in the California state lottery, and he won the equivalent of about £2 million at the time. So he was a multimillionaire. So we had the means to support her and give her lots of things that she wanted and she needed. So this is something that's incredibly positive, what he gave to her, and yet she won't talk to him. And this whole conflict before and after the marriage, that's something that's my own theories, my own conspiracy theory about what really happened and how it was. So that's not next week. So next week is the third part and the conclusion of this therapy, and the my magic therapy, and how it sort of all sorted itself out. I'll tell you a scoop on that, but how it worked it out and what happened, and my appreciation of it. And that's something that you'll see when you see it. The week after that, I go back to real life, if you like, with Meghan and her parents, which I'm still doing, and it's like a big job. There's these little things, these small videos. They take me 1 or 2 weeks to put together because of the images and things like that. So I've got my work to do to get that finished. And then the week after that is the conflict between Meghan and her father. And that's a lot of fun, because I see this so differently from what most people see. So that might open your eyes to another vision of how things are. So that's that. And then the last week is a global appreciation of Meghan, who she is and why she is who she is. And that's the end of that. And then after that, and then hopefully I'm going to start doing some fun things again, because I don't dislike doing this, but it's quite a lot of work, and I'd like to do some more humorous things. So that's on the cards for after that. And I've got something. Oh yes, for Easter, Pesach, depending on what religions you follow or not at all. I'm going to release a special music video of about 3.5 minutes of a song and dance with Prince Harry and Prince Andrew, and the title is "We're a Couple of Spares," because that's what they are. And so that'll be next Monday, maybe. I'll just do that as an extra bit on the end of this as a special, and then I'll just release it normally on YouTube. So I'll come for that, because it's that I'm quite pleased with that. It's not perfect. I'm not the professional with this. After all, I spend most of my time being a psychologist, and putting together these YouTube videos is something I do sort of like on the side. So that's all for now. Thank you for your time and your appreciation. There's a lot of things that have been written. So thank you for that. And I'll see you next week. So no, next week is not Easter, is it? No, it's Easter is the week after. And that's when I'm going to show you the video of "We're a Couple of Spares." So that's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I don't know. I'm quite pleased with it. And so I'll see you then. Bye for this week. I'll see you next week. I find it interesting there's all these things being written. I can't actually read what's being written. It's too small. I should put my glasses on. You see my glasses. These are my intelligent glasses. You see, like intelligent this. Oh, love the first time. Back again for another stream. Well, that's great stream. Hello from YouTube. This is amazing content. Oh, wow. I don't know about watching for 2 hours. How can you be watching me for 2 hours? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, so I'll see you all next Monday, and bye for now.